And they negotiated in 2 days. 2 days where there were parties in between, there were classrooms in between, there was tours in between. So
the bus ride of a European city, right?
Yeah,
a bunch of ignorant people who have never, probably once they went into exile, they just went somewhere and they got stuck. Now they have an opportunity
to go and see a European city. Yes.
And I am so disappointed by these people.
No,
I knew that they were making a lot of mistakes, but I thought that when all is said and done, anytime you put them in a room, the first word that will come out of their mouth is independence. I mean, the prisoners in behind bars have written what is called a Ambazonia Freedom Protocol. You would think that this people will only repeat one of the lines in there. Instead, write a preamble that literally open room for implicating our boys and girls who are fighting to put their borders between the crazy regime and our communities, and then they go on to commit to craziness, things that are everything they committed to is everything that's beyond their control.
Well,
everything.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is that document binding to the people of Ambazonia in any way, shape, or form?
I'm sorry. The document is not binding. And the author of the document, the goal of the document is to use it to undermine the kind of UN Security Council decision that can get consequences.
No, but should he even do that? I think that's what I'm driving to. That is that even something that should even see daylight? Who appointed these people? I've told you they call themselves liberation movements. They're not liberation movements. Those are individuals who have stayed in the West all their lives for decades, and that's why I've been calling them middlemen. I've never called them that they're leaders. It's people who have been making mistakes calling them leaders. Now they can see how ignorant they are, because these are people.
And this document, you can also use it to lobby foreign governments. You can use it to go to the U.S. Senate and say, listen, we understand you are emotional about this thing, but senators are not living in Ambazonia. They don't watch all the social media content that we produce every day. They have other lives. If a guy from a non-profit lobbyist, which means that he has or she has access to the building as they want, and they have that reputation, goes and say, listen, I know there's a misunderstanding here. I know that, the press has written about this. I know that 20 senators wrote this letter, but please look at this letter here. These people agreed to, they are committing the crimes. This is a letter signed by them, all of their leaders. Please, let's not bother about this. This is a distraction. It's going to be an embarrassment for the United States if we are found supporting people who are like this. Or the most important trick being used, which was used in Kosovo until it cracked up, is to say there are bad people on both sides.
Yes, well, they've been saying there are bad people on our side, on our situation also. But yes. let me do this, okay?
Yes.
The first question I wrote here was, what makes that document dead on arrival?
So the document is not dead on arrival because it serves its purpose. If the purpose of the document is to use it to campaign and run a powerful anti-lobby against our movement, then you cannot retract this document. They give these documents, they wrote their names there, they sign other documents there before you get into the hall, you need to sign to get a badge. So the organization have not just type document, they also have signatures of them for attending and all of that. If you put all of that in one big package, right, and maybe they also had videos of the room and the discussions.
Oh, and I'm sure they've documented them very well.
Yes, you can take that. For example, this is the thing, the European Union has totally gone after Cameroon, but that was mostly led by people from Eastern Europe. The whole Western Europe did not touch it, but they were totally surprised that it passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you go to those Eastern European countries that signed, they are not experts in Ambazonia. It was the Red Hack and the other organization that was trying to come to issues that work with Red Hack, and Red Hack provided them facts about what's happening to our people. They included it to make that draft.
Well,
but those people are not experts in our country. So if now a big American lobbyist shows up to them and says, Red Hack, some of these people that they're just, a little hysterical. This is a document that shows that these Ambazonian people are not what you think they are, right? If you're an expert who was lobbied before you sign that document, you think you're going to spend now your time to find the counter information for that? You're just going to tell your staff, please this. I don't want people to make this mistake anymore.
Yes, but let's do this though. Let's do this. I think we'll overcome that. We'll overcome that because yes, they're going to do that propaganda. But they've done a lot of that before, and people on the ground. Obviously, they're talking now not because of fraudulent documents not going around. They're talking now because of our people fighting on the ground, and I think, and I'm so glad you took the time to educate our people about who those people who wrote those who went to Brussels and signed those documents are. But it's I think you've brought it to the attention of our people that these middlemen in the West who never initiated the struggle, who have spent their time stealing monies that were contributed to help them on the ground, have never been for them. They went to Brussels. They did not know who was inviting them. They did not know the agenda. They went there. They sat in classrooms. Let me tell you, I was having a conversation with one of them last night. They said there were 15 in a class. And they brought all kinds of people, and they were telling them, hey, you have to, this opportunity right now, you have to accept it because it may be gone and you will never have it again. So you have to negotiate now, and they were telling them all this crap. And so and they bought it because in that conversation I was hearing, what power do we have?
My brother, this is the problem, right? This is another reason why I was so angry with them and why I keep saying they are ignorant, because if they were following, if you are a movement leader, then you have to follow all the information about what is happening about your movement globally. You can't cover your eyes and cover your mouth and sit in a little room and delude yourself that somehow what you want to see what's happening.
No, they've been fighting. No, they haven't covered their eyes, and they've been fighting for money. They've been fighting for money from the Ambazonian diaspora. They've been campaigning. They've been forming teams to fight each other, to sabotage, and they've been doing everything except fighting for the Ambazonian people. And so when they found that opportunity, they went there to increase their credential and their ability and posture even more. I think I
saw one of them issue a document purportedly claiming to be that they led that process, and now this is time for unity based on what they are calling for.
Yes, I read that too.
If they were following the news, right, and investigating all the power players and following all the games that are going on, they don't need to know about square pattern and box. They would have seen that the United States actions have shifted the dynamic in a dramatic way. And they would have seen that when somebody is telling you that this is an opportunity. What opportunity? Are we negotiating right now? No. It's an opportunity. You're telling me that this is an opportunity. I want to register a few things. That document, you've talked about the non-profit that organized it, but you've talked about Squire Patton and Buck. I think there's that part. What I'm trying to say is that the sponsors of this thing, because these people who came, their bills were paid for, they were fed, they were entertained, that was a whole Fumban there. That's another Fumban. And the bills were picked up by somebody else. My understanding is that the bills, part of the bills were picked up by La République. Part of them were picked up by the Swiss. Part of them were picked up by, I don't know, maybe. Do you have any idea of who is sponsoring all of this? I do not have the paperwork of who paid for the bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I know is that there have been this attempt to play a game that keeps saying the Americans. There's nothing like the Americans. An NGO that claims to be of American connection does not become the Americans. Okay?
No, we know what channel the Americans are following right now, and that is not that channel.
It's very crazy to think about it. For them to say, because some NGO that says that they are here, they are from the United States, that make them the Americans. What is the official U.S. policy on the situation right now?
And that could have been set up by the lobbying firm and paid for everything. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally serious. I do not have the receipts of the payments, but I'm totally serious in terms of the pattern that this followed, right? You have to see the kind of things that Squire Patton and Box can do. This is an organization that succeeded. So after the whole world has cried about Congo, the whole world was fed up about the blood draining in Congo and the crimes and the exploitation and the theft by everybody. Congo had become an El Dorado. The Russians were there doing the transportation while the Europeans were there doing the stealing. The South African mercenaries were there protecting the mines, and the public was getting the consequences because they needed to put all the stories so that the public does not come back and so that the world is totally distracted. People don't go down to be like, oh, who is getting the word out of here? After all of that, Squire Patton and Box was able to successfully get the UN down there and get it to flip. So, let me play the scenario for you. These people put this document together here, as they have done. If the processes have gone too far for them to stop the Security Council to get a hearing, the Security Council get a hearing with all this stuff. They say, oh yeah, we need to send some stabilization force down there. In one of the documents that was issued before, you point out that we cannot accept soldiers from Central African Republic and Chad and this place to come here because we know that they are all part of the French neo-colonial system, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't do any of that. So what happens then is we wake up one morning and everybody is saying, oh, we need the neighborhood to take care of it. That's preparing, laying the groundwork to send a Central African force there, maybe including Chad, Central African Republic, and Equatorial Guinea. Oh, those are neighbors, right? They are not. They are French outfit soldiers, right? You send them down there, they are not coming down there to support us or to bring peace. They come there, and very soon we end up in a situation where people get into confrontation with them, like we saw in Congo, and suddenly the UN said, okay, you have, you need to watch what is called the Ivory Coast strategy.
I was thinking about that because as you were calling other players, I was thinking, what about the Ivory Coast that just happened not too long ago?
It is what happened in Ivory Coast was so successful that the French themselves call it the Ivory Coast strategy, and they used it in Mali and they used it in Libya, right? They are just a little steps around it. You claim that there's a community around, that's going to impose peace, and then you claim that community is too weak to fulfill that if they lost, to impose your agenda, and then suddenly you either get French troops. There in our case, I don't think that we are going to be able to resist Central African Republic, Chad, and all of those combined, because the Cameroonians that were already resisting. And then very soon you hear that, these people are opposing the UN, and so it's time for the UN to fight against us. Nobody will call these fools into a room to ask them what to do next. They will say, the people, they acknowledged last time that they're going to follow what the UN and international organizations say.
But let's
are faced not just with Cameroon, but with troops from all over Central African Republic fighting against us in the village.
Let me say this, okay? I know that you are thinking about how that document can be used, but that document is not an authoritative document. I don't think the ANC that you just mentioned, they went everywhere and talked about ANC. They never said they were doing anything on behalf of South Africa. They're fighting for the liberation of their people, but they were speaking on their own behalf because you know what I'm saying? So I think it's overreaching to say that people are in the war. First of all, these people who are signing, they're not part of the fighting. They're the citizens of some of these countries in the West. So that document cannot be an authoritative document. I think Paul Biya and his supporters and his sponsors are fishing around, and I think that that fishing can. I don't believe that they can just fool anybody, or that they can go to the UN and go to and say, "Oh, this is a document signed by some loud noise by some noisemakers in the West, trying to say they're speaking on the behalf of their people," and that suddenly becomes, "Oh yeah, the Ambazonian people who are fighting they've surrendered." That cannot be accepted.
What I do not believe in. What I don't think is that the purpose of this was supposed to use it as a legal document, right? The purpose of it was supposed to use it for lobbying, and all laws beside the point. You know that legally we were not supposed to be fighting Cameroon today.
Yeah, right? We're supposed to have been defeated a long time ago.
Cameroon would have left if there was legality as, prima facie. Legality is defended and fought for. Okay? And so, if somebody is able to get lobbying edge against you, look at, Sahrawi Republic. Look at, Togo, for example. Look at, Cameroon itself, right? If we were following legal processes, France was supposed to be out of the idea of France still controlling the economy of Cameroon because of something called the Courier Agreement would fly out the window, because everybody would know that legality would say that a country that is occupied by troops will not be able to make a fair and legitimate decision about the destiny of their people.
No.
But the world does not work like that. The world works on lobbying and political pressure and all of that stuff. And in that process, you try to undercut your enemy. You don't undercut your people by providing your enemy ammunitions for that process. This document is not some legal document. These people were not elected to represent our people. But in the context of lobbying, ANC was not elected to represent the people of South Africa.
Yes.
But in the context of social change and transformation and lobbying and the political decisions that were made, the apartheid government realized that people started questioning, in the context of the lobbying, the very foundation of the state of an apartheid. What kind of country is this that only some part of its people can vote, another part cannot? But that was not in the beginning. Nobody questioned that apartheid South Africa was in the UN the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the South Africans, the ANC, successfully lobbied, and that happened?
It was lobbying. It was lobbying students, making it impossible for elected officials here, especially over time. The knowledge and awareness was improved because of the lobbying until Democrats realized, and that's the funny thing in this country, why Republicans cannot do crazy stuff every now and then in terms of international politics. Democrats only do international politics when it has become the mainstream. Right? Mm-hmm. It was a Democrat president that was fighting the war in Vietnam. But when it became mainstream that everybody did not want the war in Vietnam to end, the majority of the people who voted in Congress against the war were Democrats. The same thing with that thing here, the apartheid government here. They had Coca-Cola and Caterpillar were some of their biggest partners. Those same companies were lobbying Democrats here and paying some of their elections at the time. But when students and churches and lawyers and labor unions and everything was against apartheid and saying we don't want our money going to apartheid anymore. If you do business with apartheid, you cannot sell your stuff in our schools. When that happened, Democrats realized if they're going to win elections, they better line up. And they lined up and they voted the sanctions against apartheid, which the clerk said was the thing that killed apartheid.
Yes, yes.
When they voted that sanction, all the Democrats lined up and voted for it, to the point where Reagan, including Republicans, because of how the lobbying had happened, Reagan, who was the president, vetoed that bill.
Yes, and
there was enough vote to override the veto.
Yes. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let me bring you back home. So now that you have educated your so-called leaders about the cardinal sin that they committed in Europe, how do you advise them to redeem themselves or to nullify it, or what do you advise them to do now?
The people I'm going to address is not these people who call themselves leaders. I'm sorry. It's not them. The people I'm going to address is Ambazonians.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was going to come. Let me say this. I wanted you to talk to them, because I think you started by saying that they are good people who are ignorant. So if you assume that they're good people and they're ignorant and they've done something wrong and you've educated them, what would be your advice to reverse the effects of that? Because as far as the Ambazonian people go, I'll tell you that the Ambazonian people for 3 years have fought the French and their surrogates in La République du Cameroun, and so lobbyists in the West and a bunch of swindlers who run around calling themselves their leaders that were not appointed by the Ambazonian people cannot defeat the Ambazonian people. So I'm not worried about them. But I like the education that you've given to all of them. But I want to hear what you would say that these people whose signatures are on that document can reverse that.
They can. One of the things that they can do to reverse that is they have to join the campaign now to undermine the lobbying of the organization that's going to use this to lobby against what the U.S. is trying to do. By the way they will undermine that campaign is by joining the counter campaign. In other words, the U.S. This current administration is more than 10 steps ahead in the typical process. Most of the time, before the United States engage the UN processes, there must have been a bill or 5 bills passed in Congress, right? Mm-hmm. Senate. So normally it starts with there's a first bill passed that says we are calling on. Let's take the example of I'm going to be doing 2 things. I'm going to do the real bill, and I'm going to do if they were to do it for us. How it would sound like. The first bill was we are calling on the government of Myanmar to do everything in their power to stop the crimes being committed in Rashkin. That is a call, as they call it, a call, legally. Mm-hmm. Normally, in our case, let's do this. Don't go through the American process. Just tell these so-called leaders how to reverse that, and I think they need. I don't think they should join the crowd of the Ambazonian people who are going to go lobbying and campaigning for their liberation. They need to do it in the same group like they went and gathered somewhere in some paid posh hotel in Europe and signed that document that was written for them. They need to do that again in that same fashion. Or they can issue, right? They can issue what some movement will call clarification statements, right? Mm-hmm. They can issue each or together or just each a clarification statement saying that we are writing to clarify what we meant in the document that we signed in Brussels. Mm-hmm. This is what we mean. This is not what we mean. When we said genocidal crimes being committed in Southern Cameroon, we mean that the genocidal crimes being committed by Cameroon military, as reported by the U.S. ambassador on this and this date, as reported by Amnesty and Human Rights Watch, and that and AP and New York Times. You write that and you quote the date. The reason why people call New York Times and they call the newspapers, they call them newspaper of record, is because what they record it's not just news that you read and you move on. It can be legitimately used in court under certain circumstances. And so by you quoting what they wrote, and because of the reputation that they have as quote and unquote newspaper of records, and because of the ambassador's reputation as the ambassador of the most powerful country in the world, you quote them and quote the statement and say, in your statement, just for clarification, a clarification statement from, I don't know, whatever those groups say, the South Cameroon women, whatever that they wrote that also signed the thing there. Clarification statement on the Brussels May 28th statement, which we signed. We want to say, as part of clarification, on the question of the genocide being perpetrated in Southern Cameroon, what we mean, clarification, is that we're talking here about the genocide being perpetrated against Ambazonians by the French new colonial regime in Cameroon. You quote those. That will create a situation. It doesn't mean that the lobbyists will not use this letter to go try and lobby, right? Mm-hmm. But what it will do is that it will create a situation where when we try to talk to, I don't know, because we also are just doing lobbying. It's just that we are doing citizen lobbying. That they can go and talk to a congressman, and congressman will be like, yeah. Say, you even say it's gone so fast. People are doing this kind of stuff, and all of that in terms of public relations for their own organizations. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Keep going, please.
Yeah, and so they can issue clarification statements, right? They can issue clarification that said, when we mention in that document, blah, 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 that we acknowledge with gratitude, blah, 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 all decisions that have been taken by blah, blah, blah. We do not mean decisions that we were not participants of, or did not sign, or were not in the room to approve. You know, you can issue a clarification statement, you know, which will kind of undermine the public validity of the document. But the problem, like me and you said before, this document was not intended for public use. Squire Patton and Buck is not going to publish this document on New York Times and they say, oh, see, Ambazonians are accepting that they are the ones responsible for killing and blah, blah. No, they're just going to use it for their work. So these organizations, and I don't see that, I have to be honest, I do not see that as a savior of themselves. The way they will save themselves is to join the lobby, to call the Congress people, to call the senators, to say, listen, 630,000 people have been displaced, people are dying. I need the United States to cut all funding for this government. I am a taxpayer in the United States. I live in your district. My tax money should not be going to a government that our own military has agreed that they are committing war crimes against civilians and only cut part of the money. We need all of the money to be cut.
Vali, let me say this. I think it's important that the one of the things that I would say they should also do is admit that they did not write that document. It was written for them. In fact, it's a fraudulent document that they were bribed because some of the lavishing that they were lavishing on them was bribery, and I don't even know whether they were not coerced because maybe they traveled to that place and they were there. They control every schedule. So they need to come clean and say how that document came about. They also need to they need to come and tell their story. Because like I've told you, part of the story that I've just heard from some of the people who are there, it's not a fun story. They brought in people from failed ventures and they came and said, you know, we had an opportunity here, but we did not take the opportunity, so that's why we lost. They were brainwashed. They were subjected to a lot of brainwash and a lot of failed stories. They were put in a classroom. They were put in
because the first thing that you would think some of these people would have done in their life, the first thing that they would have done in their life is just to read a little bit about conflict resolutions in other war situations. Vietnam, the most famous. They had 1,000 different documents on it. Maybe, read something about Africa, maybe. Just look around Tanzania, Zimbabwe, rather.
But Vali, let's do one thing. They say they speak on behalf of organizations, and I think we can use this conversation in kind of talking about some of the organizations. How many people belong to a group called Ambazonian Governing Council?
I don't have a clue.
Have you met somebody who say I'm a member of Ambazonian Governing Council other than the people who say they are the people preparing themselves to go and govern Ambazonia?
I haven't. And if you try to squeeze me about any of those organizations that signed that letter, I will fail a lot of the quiz.
No, please, I think you answered that one. Do you know any people who say we are members of the consortium?
I don't accept that guy, John Akumbara, that guy.
So that's a one-man organization, right?
Yes, that's the only person I know that I've heard keep saying and I don't know him personally. I just see some of his writings get forwarded into some of the forums that I am in.
Now let's talk about the IG itself. Was the so-called interim government ever elected by the people of Ambazonia? Have the people of Ambazonia ever elected a government when they are fighting a war right now?
The answer is a resounding no.
I can go through all of them. Is the NCNC? The NCNC used to actually be a very good, legitimate movement in Ambazonia, but that movement, I know, first of all, it's been banned in the territory, and I don't even know that it's very active out here. But that is one of the potential organizations that actually does have members, have a charter, have a mission. We talked about real organizations, right? The SCNC is the only organization, but the leaders the leaders of that organization now are not even participating in some of this liberation as SCNC anymore, are they?
Well, the real leaders are in jail.
They are in jail.
You have, like Dr. Ngala, you have some people here in the United States that are quote-unquote supposedly the leaders of SCNC in the United States. They have not been re-elected in more than 20 years, if I'm not, just a few years wrong.
Yes, the organization is dead in the West, actually. Let me ask you, this woman's organization that you just heard the name, have you ever heard of it before?
No.
So basically what it is a fraudulent invitation of individuals, partly because they make a lot of noise, and I know you said that they make a lot of noise out there, but where they were supposed to make noise, they start twisting their words. That proves that they didn't even write that document. So that document is a fraudulent document concocted by people paid by the enemies of Ambazonia, and in order to continue their fight against Ambazonia. So basically, they are not for peace. They want to continue to remain colonialist in Ambazonia, and the people of Ambazonia should know that that's what is going on and continue their fight.
That is absolutely right. I think we need to be able to blunt the consequences of that. That is to say, since they are trying to use that to lobby against efforts at the U.S. At the UN, but also in the U.S., right? Mm-hmm. Like when you hear that woman say, what is the government doing with our partners to solve this problem? Our partners in that country was France, and France is doing everything to make sure the U.S. does not discuss about that.
Yes, and like I've always said, the U.S. does know that the French are that the French are the last colonial masters in Africa. The U.S. knows that. The British know that because they have said so. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Italians, the deputy prime minister of Italy just came out months ago and said exactly the same thing. So no one is going to get fooled here.
Because they have different interests in different places, in the Middle East and other places, that and also NATO alliances that make them allies. And so most of the time, what tends to happen is that after things have come up, people try to use those relationships to push back and let the U.S. ignore situations, or other allies ignore situations that they will behave differently. The difference this time is that the U.S. has refused to let it go that way.
Yes.
This particular U.S. administration has refused to play ball.
Yes.
Okay? You remember all Cook and all the others in their own time. They tried to, go against it, but then they let it go. And even this administration, that's why we need to be careful. What we need to be careful is we cannot go to bed and be like, oh, well, this administration is going to let it go, because we've seen this administration flip forward and back on it. You understand?
Yes.
For example.
Vali, just hold one moment. I really don't want you to keep going to what this administration. I think they're doing what they do. I think we really should focus on what we do, because this administration only does what they do because of what we do. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I want to say is that the people in the diaspora who have allowed themselves to follow some of these individuals can now see who they've been following. They've been following idiots who cannot think past their nose or cannot think past the money that they want from their pockets. And I hope that with this revelation, because this could actually be something good for Ambazonia. It could actually backfire and actually make the people of Ambazonia suddenly realize that the people who have claimed to speak on their behalf really have been speaking on their personal behalves and on their personal interests, and just using them like every other person who has taken the issue of Ambazonia has done. Frundi and the SDF came talking about Ambazonia in the last convention. They were sitting with the enemies of Ambazonia who are shooting Ambazonia right now. They were sitting in their convention with them. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. You're absolutely right. I think it is really heart-wrenching that so-called leaders, the 101 leadership in a movement, right? Every place the Vietnamese went during their struggle, the first thing they started talking about their victims. Our people are dying in the bushes. our people are being beaten by snakes. Our people, they didn't say a word about the victims. Not one word. They talk about, our agreements,
And you see that, you see, after yeah, please go ahead.
We have almost 3,000 people in prison. They didn't say a word about the prisoners. They didn't say a word about the refugees. They didn't say a word about the people that are dying every day in the bushes, running away from this
valley.
This water.
Valley.
Yes.
I don't think maybe they signed that letter under some 5-course meal with some great music going on, and they were being served with white gloves and everything, and they were just and after they have drunk like the most expensive champagne and wines in the world. We do know how the French negotiate, and if you want to tell me that the hand of the French is not behind this, no, you're kidding. So
I do believe, definitely I believe that.
So
I mean,
so
recruited. You remember they helped with the recruitment of Squire Patton and Box in the thing when this at least this last time when Diongute was here in that May time, at least that's the contract that was restricted by FO how you call it information request. It's really heartbreaking, my brother.
Yeah, so let's look at this, and I'm gonna say let's look at this as a revelation to the people of Ambazonia that they are alone. They are alone on ground zero, and they need to develop their own leadership. And I'm just repeating you there, and once they develop that leadership and protect it, then find a way to get your help from your brothers and sisters and your relatives in the diaspora. Then it will work. The only organizations that have successfully used diaspora to the benefit of what was happening on the ground has been SDF and SCNC. These are people who came with the organizations already on the ground. They already had their leadership. So when they came here, there were no impostors and usurpers running in the West to be your leader. And so if they form their leadership and then send that leadership to come, it doesn't matter where that leadership is based. But if it's a ground leadership and it's in control of the ground, the ANC that you talked about, nobody had a doubt that it was an organization on the ground. And even the people who left, the Oliver Tambo, they went into other countries, but they were based in the ground. They were never based in the West. All these people who have jumped up now as scammers and people who have wasted their lives in the West, and when they saw an opportunity where people are trying to actually do something for themselves in the diaspora, they want to come and make a name for themselves. No, make a name for yourself where you are. Don't go and make a name for yourself on the backs of dying children on the ground. That fraudulent document that you signed it on the blood of that 5 months old kid that was shot just a week ago. Nobody was thinking about that. I can tell you they were enjoying either a bus ride, and I'm sure in that bus ride, we're still waiting to hear the stories of how luxurious those events were.
Yeah.
So let's. I think just like money has been contributed and sent to some people to send to the territory, and the money was swindled. And I think that is, and I wrote somewhere that the good thing about that is that the Ambazonian people now know who they do not want to bring close to their coffers, because the wealth of Ambazonia, which everybody is fighting for now, will end up being owned by the people of Ambazonia. And these lessons right now are lessons that are telling them how to handle their affairs going forward. You have anything to add, Pa?
No, I'm just grateful that I'm grateful to the men and women and children and farmers that are unfortunately paying the price for what is happening to us. And I'm also grateful to the brothers and sisters who are out here, who have sacrificed arm and leg and everything to support the people back home. And I want to assume that some of the people who went to Brussels and participated in all of this stuff, that they did it ignorantly. But it is time to stop. Okay? It is time to stop. It's just,
Vali,
I mean,
Vali,
yes.
let me say something, okay?
Yes.
Let me say something. You know, when you want a society to run and run properly, innocence and all of that only come in terms of softening the blow that society gives for committing a crime or for hurting it. You've never seen people go away with I don't even think that they're innocent, because these people left and they went to Europe. Who was inviting them? If you were going to go negotiate, huh?
I said their tickets were paid for by an organization that invited them. You would think that these same people who are constantly accusing one another every day of being in the pay of La Republic of Cameroon would be wondering, why are these people paying for my ticket? Why?
Another thing is that if you don't know the history, if you don't know how to negotiate, then don't start posturing as though you're a leader of Ambazonia and confusing people. You see, these are people who step forward and claim that they know everything to a point where they want to lead, right? So no, don't talk about innocence. There's nothing innocent there. It's the same as they've been scamming money from the Ambazonian people and not sending down to the territory, and that's why the struggle is fizzling right now. So no, I will not say it's innocent. No, they knew what they were doing. They thought they were going to come out heroes. They thought it was going to enhance their. I think you use a better. I think you analyze them better in the phone interview, which I will be playing. You analyze them better. I think they went there to up their game. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, the incident ended up revealing their shortcomings that are many.
Yep, that's so true. That is so true. It's very sad. Very sad day.
But thank you.
Campaign. Our community needs to campaign, though. We need to call our Congress people. The way we can counter this, the consequences of that, in terms of it being used to lobby against us, is we need to call our Congress people. We need to call our senators, and the message is the same. 600,000 people have been internally displaced as a result of a slaughter by the French neo-colonial government, and the proof is that the United States Army has cut some funding for Cameroon, but that has not stopped them. They have to cut everything. That's the proof.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. Let me. What I wanted to add was that the whole world. Look, it started with Paul Biya. No, it started with Paul Biya and his government, and then came the French ambassador and some of the French diplomats in Yaoundé who said this issue is going to be decided in Cameroon. No, that issue is being decided. Is it being decided in Cameroon?
No.
The Paul Biya.
That's why it's a joke, because like the South African said, which is good that we have those tips, as the clerk said, right? The clerk said the thing that brought it to an end was United States sanction. That's what the clerk himself said, not somebody who was a spokesperson. The clerk, in his own words, said that US sanction was it. That was what killed it.
Yes, and I just wanted to go down the line and said this struggle, that Paul Biya could not stop it with his declaration of war. I think he did it very, 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 very confidently, knowing that his B that has terrorized and people in La Republique terrorized everywhere, and people were scared. He thought Ambazonians are going to drop when they hear B or when they see them. No, Ambazonians fought back, and they're still fighting. But it's 3 years now. Then the French came and said, "Oh no, this is going to be decided in La Republique." No, it's being decided outside of La Republique. Then the people who stole money, they stole Ambazonian money, thinking that it will crumble the struggle. Did it? I mean, those in the diaspora, did it? Has it stopped it? It has not stopped it.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
So a forged document by people who are playing stomach politics is not going to stop the Ambazonian revolution. And people have always said it's a God-ordained struggle. I do not believe that God is going to come down and help us. But I think if I want to follow with the whole God thing, I think God works through human beings, and God is working the miracle in Ambazonia through the Ambazonian people themselves. Because God did not say Nigeria will develop itself, La Republic is going to have its own kind of fake development, and somehow the people of Ambazonia will be a farmland where they each come in there and do what they want and leave, and then we grow in the bush. It's not going to happen. I think this is the last fight for the Ambazonian people to come back home, and it doesn't matter. Even if America doesn't help Ambazonians, Ambazonians will get their country back.
I totally agree. And that's why we're going to fight with everything we have. We're going to do everything we have to make sure that it doesn't happen again. That somebody who walked into a house and a baby is lying, a 4-month-old baby, that's just 2 weeks after 4 months, is lying in a bed, the person will point their gun at the baby at close range and shoot them almost 10 times in the head in their sleep.
The hate for Ambazonian people, I don't know where that hate comes from. And people have come into our land and taken anything they want, and we have never fought back. So where is the hate coming from? But Vali, I really want to thank you for 2 things. First, for sharing your knowledge, and the second, for really spending the time. And I know that is the story. It is the story of the Ambazonian people. It's the fight of the Ambazonian people that has motivated you to educate yourself so much about all the information that you're sharing with us. I really want to let you know that people are benefiting from it, if nothing else. And I think that the more the people of Ambazonia are violated, like in the case we just came from discussing, I think the more people will listen to you and know that you have spent time, a lot of time, studying these struggles around the world, studying these systems, researching all these organizations, and bringing that information home. And I could tell you where this information is helping. If your mind is not working right, you will not be performing right. And so you are going right to the mind and influencing the mind of Ambazonian people with information which is making them wise. And I can tell you another thing, that is some of all this information that has developed the resolve that the Ambazonians have on the ground. So I really want to thank you for doing all of that, for sharing. In fact, let me mention what you did in New York, because you are one person who don't just preach, you also do. And I want to remind people of the occasion that you hosted in New York, and the people who spoke there and the language they spoke. I don't know if you can add a little more about that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I understand. You're talking about the global initiative to end the Cameroon Colonial Conflict Conference.
Yes, people should go and watch that and see how that was organized, who the people who were invited, what they said, and what their promises were, and what they are doing going forward. You know what I'm saying? So you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, my brother. And I don't know. I think we're very, very blessed to have you as one of us, and to have you doing the things that you do.
My brother, that's just a lot of kind words, you know. But you are right that all of this is being driven by those people down, by the activists down on the ground. You know, young kids that should be in college now, people that should be tending to their farms, teachers, lawyers. Today, they are picking up arms to put themselves between their villages, between their wives and children, and our wives and children, and brothers and sisters, and grandparents, and a monstrous regime. You are right. They are the people driving some of us to feel like we owe a debt we cannot pay, but at least we can try the best we can under the circumstances. So I thank you for the work you're doing. There's no question about the centrality of the work you're doing, and the fact that if we were that focused, all of us, we could put the little brick and build a castle that Cameroon cannot penetrate under any circumstances. And I just appreciate the work you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Yes, you have a good night.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night.
Bye.